So you want to live in Arlington, Virginia, but you're not quite sure what it's like here. What kind of home could you afford? What will your commute be? Are there fun things to do? Is Arlington centrally located to other parts of the DC metro area? Well, many consider Arlington to be the shining star of the DC metro area. I'm going to answer all those questions, plus bring you a few hidden gems right now. So if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, eating, sleeping, playing in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding suburbs like Arlington, Virginia, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first one to know about the current market here in Washington, D.C. My name is Brad. I'm a local real estate agent serving Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. I live here and have lived in all three, so I love getting calls, texts, emails from people like you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, so I can help you make a smooth move to Washington, D.C. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call, or schedule a Zoom. I'd love to help you with your move. Now, let's talk a little bit about Arlington. So where is Arlington? So Arlington is in Northern Virginia. It is just southwest of Washington, D.C. The only thing that separates Arlington from Washington, D.C. is the Potomac River. In fact, some of the best views of Washington are from Arlington, and some of the best views of Arlington are from Washington, D.C. Arlington is actually a county. It's 26 square miles. It's treated like a city, or as people talk about it, like it's a city, but it's actually a county. And then there's 12 urban core neighborhoods that make up Arlington that are kind of referred to as cities as well. So you have Rosslyn, you have Clarendon, you have Courthouse, you have Virginia Square, you have Boston, you have Pentagon City, you have Crystal City, and then also you'll hear about Shirlington as well. So Arlington was formed many, many years ago, but about 40 years ago when they started to build the subway, what we call the metro, Arlington got a plan together to kind of create these urban cores and the city as walkable as possible in each neighborhood so that you would not have to use your car as much. And Arlington likes to call that a car-free diet. So the cost of living in Arlington is about 50% higher than the national average, although the household income is twice the national average at $122,000 per household. The average or the median home price is $785,000. There are a lot of different neighborhoods in Arlington though, and anything from condos to single family homes. There's a good selection at different price points. So Arlington has quite the accolades too. Niche.com has consistently ranked it one of the best cities to live in the US. I think it's currently 4th. It's been as high as 1st. It stays around the top 5. They also rank Arlington school systems as being in the top 2 systems in Virginia. Walkfriendly.org ranks Arlington up there with New York City as the top 2 places for walkability in the country. The American College for Sports Medicine named it the fittest city in the country, and that's because of its design and how it encourages physical activity, walking and biking, and access to bike lanes and walk-friendly neighborhoods and parks and so forth. It's also been awarded the healthiest city in the country based on, I guess, medical records. So don't feel like you have to be in shape to live in Arlington. I think it's just the environment here promotes physical activity and better health. The climate in Arlington ranges from 30 to 90 degrees. The summers, the average temperature is 79 degrees. It definitely gets hot and humid in July and August. The winters range from 30 to 50 degrees. We do have several days that dip below 30 and can get quite cold, but for the most part, 30s to 50s. We definitely get all 4 seasons here. We do typically get some snow. The average snowfall is about 10 inches. Generally 1 or 2 inches is not a problem. The roads are salted and it's easy to get around. If we get above 4 and 5 inches, then we'll usually see some closures. Also, the diversity in Arlington and in DC in general is very good. Bestneighborhood.org rates diversity score in Arlington a 96 out of 100, and that kind of goes for the whole DC metro area. So Arlington promotes what's called a car-free diet, and they make it really convenient by design to not need your car. It's super walkable. So there's urban core or business district that runs throughout most of Arlington, not everywhere, but you're gonna be pretty close. Most of the places are walking distance to stores, restaurants, shops, coffee shops, and so forth. Some of the single family home neighborhoods are a short drive away. There is the Metro. So the Metro is our subway system. There's 12 stops throughout Arlington. There's the yellow, blue, silver, and I believe the yellow line. So if you need to get into DC, if you need to go into Maryland, if you need to go into Northern Virginia. Cycling. So there's over 25 miles of on-street dedicated bike lanes in Arlington, which is pretty amazing. There's over 50 miles of trails as well. 2 of the standouts are Washington and Old Dominion Trail, which runs from Shirlington all the way out to Purcellville in Northern Virginia. It's 45 miles. It used to be an old railroad. They took the rails out. Now it's a bike trails for walking, running, biking, so forth. The Mount Vernon Trail runs from Rosslyn into George Washington's home, a Mount Vernon. Beautiful trail, runs along the Potomac, kind of winds through some pretty neighborhoods. Several, a lot of it are kind of these kind of tree-lined trails that you kind of go under the canopy of the trails. There's plenty of bikes and scooters to rent throughout the city. There are even car rental services that you can use and pay a monthly fee and rent the car, take it where you need, leave it, and you do locking and unlocking through an app. So Arlington makes it really easy to not need your car. Parking is, I wouldn't say is horrible. I'd say it's not great. Many people try to have a parking space with their condo or townhome or certainly with single family homes. But a lot of people, they have a small condo, they get away with on-street parking because they're not using their car a lot. They just use it when they need it. There are ride sharing services, so you can go online and team up with other people. So if you need to go on 66 during rush hours in the morning and the evenings, it's free if you have 3 or more people. So there are websites that can connect you with other people if you want to carpool and go for free. If not, you just get a little transponder through Easy Pass and pay to do the commute. So many great options besides using the car in Arlington, and that's kind of how they've been working on this for many years, but that's what they call the car-free diet. So Arlington is also known for their parks. There's over 184 total parks, and whether that's for adults or kids or dogs, there's some amazing places to go and get outside. There is Lubber Run Park is one of the more prominent ones. They have an amphitheater, they have pickleball, they have volleyball. There's a cool modern kids outdoor playground there. There's a fire pit there. Mosaic Park is another popular one for the kids. There's a kind of modern playground. There's a kids climbing wall, and it's built on this kind of rubberized soft ground. So if the kids are playing around and fall and so forth, they're not falling on hard pavement. There's also Upton Hill, which has a really cool water park. There's also mini golf there. There's over 19 dog parks. Most of those are off leashes. One of the most prominent one is in Shirlington, and there's like a quarter of a mile of a place along this creek where the dogs can run free, get in the creek and play. It's a really popular place, but no matter where you're in Arlington, somewhere nearby there's going to be a park, a lot of outdoor space here. Are there things to do in Arlington? Well, actually, Arlington has a great selection. You have historical things, you have fun things. I mean, we've already talked about the parks, but a lot of the things that DC are known for that tourists come and visit are actually in Arlington. So you have Arlington National Cemetery, which is over 624 acres. There's over 400,000 graves. It's a humbling, but also quite beautiful area to visit. John F. Kennedy's buried there, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And it can be really beautiful around the holidays. All the graves are marked, but anyone who's served our country, and if they died in service of our country or later died and had served our country or buried there, there is the Marine Corps Memorial, which is better known as the Iwo Jima Memorial, which is quite beautiful. There are some unique things to do. There's a cool business called the Immersive Game Stop, where you and a group of friends are in a room with screens. So the game is being displayed on all the walls. You have headsets on, you communicate with each other, you have cameras on. So you're actually playing the game while you're inside the game and experiencing it. There's indoor climbing wall, which is movement gym. There are multiple escape rooms. There are several outdoor beer gardens. And then just across the river, you have Washington, D.C. So you have access to all major sports teams. You have the Washington Nationals. So you have Major League Baseball. You have the Washington Wizards. So you have the NBA. You have the Washington Capitals. So you have NHL games. Those are a ton of fun. You have the NFL games, so a little further away in Maryland on the other side of DC is the Washington Commanders, which is at FedEx Field. There's access to a lot of live music venues. So Clarendon Ballroom within Arlington has some special events with live music, but just across the river in DC, you have the New Worth, so the Anthem, which gets a lot of great kind of middle tier acts. Then you have Capital One Arena, so you get large indoor music venue. That's where the Wizards and the Capitals play. Then you have Nat Stadium, which can hold a huge acts. I just recently saw Elton John's final tour there. So acts as big as they come, down to small blues and jazz clubs and little local and regional clubs. Like one of my favorites is Pearl Street Warehouse at the Wharf. So a lot of access to music and sports. Plus you have all the museums in and around DC and Arlington. So great, just probably an opportunity to never be bored. If you see my next video coming up, a tour of Arlington, I'll walk you through some of the better restaurants, bars, coffee shops throughout Arlington and a few of my favorites. So let's talk about real estate. There are over 70 neighborhoods in Arlington. So there's a wide variety depending on what you're looking for, more urban setting or a little quiet, kind of small town feel. There are many different opportunities here in Arlington. Most of Arlington is pretty convenient. So you're gonna either be within walking distance, whether you're in condo, townhome, or even single family home to most restaurants and shops, or a very short drive. Let's talk about condos for a minute. So condos are typically mid to high rise. Most of the buildings have been built in the last 20 to 25 years. Yes, there's some exceptions. They have many common amenities. Most are pet friendly. You'll have a concierge and front desk. You'll have typically underground parking. You will have, and some of them have package storage when you get packages delivered, bike storage. There'll typically be a common area space. A lot of times that's on the roof with some great views, or it could be on the main level. The big difference, some condos come with outdoor patios and some don't. It just really depends on the building. And each building can vary a little bit. So a one bedroom with parking averages about $525,000. A two bedroom with parking is going to average about $625,000. You can expect to pay like $500 to $800, just depending on where and what you want. A three bedroom condo, which are not as prevalent. So most buildings have 1 to 2 bedrooms and may have a few 3 bedrooms. So there's less 3 bedroom condos out there, but they do exist. Typically the average price point of that is about $925,000. And that can go anywhere from $700,000 to $800,000 to as high as like $2.5 million for a penthouse in Arlington. But why don't we jump in the car and let me show you a few examples and get a kind of feel for condo buildings here in Arlington. So behind me is a good example of a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. This one is 1,150 square feet. This particular building was built in 2008. It has a nice rooftop that's a common area space. There's a fitness center, there's bike storage. There's one parking space that comes with this unit. $778 a month is the condo fee. That's about 68 cents per square foot. Has a nice updated kitchen, abundance of light throughout many of the rooms. This one has a 20-foot balcony, which is quite nice. There's a really cool hidden bookshelf with a hidden closet behind it, which is a little unique. And there are 1-bedrooms in this building that have gone for about $475,000. This particular, so mostly 1 and 2 bedrooms in this particular building. Let's go on to the next one. So here's an example of a building with a 3-bedroom condo unit. This is a mid-rise unit. We're in the Ballston neighborhood. Very walkable neighborhood here. There's a ball field behind me. Behind that is a dog park. We're literally just blocks from shops and restaurant. This particular building has a concierge, so there's a front desk on staff most days and weekends, or work days and weekends. This particular building has, and which is typical, they have underground parking. There's storage facilities for your seasonal items. There's bike storage. There's package storage, so when you get packages, they're stored in a locker until you get home and can unlock them and access that. 3-bedroom unit in this building currently, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a little over 1,500 square feet. The list price is $950,000. This building was built in 2006, but this has updated kitchens, bathrooms, updated floors, 2 private balconies, and 2 parking spaces. So a good example of what you can get. 3 bedrooms are not as common in condo buildings, but they do exist and you can find them. And that's just one option as a condo for a 3-bedroom unit here in Arlington. Very walkable, nice building, security, good example of a 3-bedroom unit. Townhomes in Arlington, you'll mostly see 2 to 4 bedrooms. They predominantly were built pre-1980, although there are some exceptions in the last 20 years, and then even some new constructions. A 2-bedroom townhome averages about $580,000. 3-bedroom averages about $875,000, and a 4-bedroom averages just under $1 million at $990,000. Although the 3 and 4 bedrooms can vary. I mean, they can vary anywhere from $500,000-$600,000 on the really low end to $2.5 million for really nice high-end townhomes in certain locations. Typically, you'll see a 1-car garage or 2-car garage, or sometimes 1-car garage with 1 parking space. Let's jump to the car again, though, and let me show you some current examples of townhomes and kind of what give you a feel for what they look like. Okay, now we're at a little larger condo. This is a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath condo, 2,100 square feet. It's priced at $1.295 million. What's important to note here is we are just 3.5 blocks from a metro station. We're a block and a half from cafes, restaurants, 3 blocks from the Boston Quarter shopping area, and there's several nice restaurants in there. So we're in a very convenient location. We're about a half a mile to I-66. So if you want to go into the city, or if you need to go out to Virginia, to Tyson's Corner or McLean or Reston or Fairfax or wherever you may be commuting to. Now, this is a nice little quiet street here, although we are very walkable. So that's pushing the price up a little bit. Nice unit here, 2-car garage. There's a private rooftop on the back with a nice little view. There's a rec room in the basement. Condo fee here is $140 a month. Or I'm sorry, HOA fee. So in the townhomes, typically the HOA fees are going to be lower than condo fees. A building, you typically have more amenities, and so forth, and then there's more exterior for them to maintain. But good example of a large townhome here, built within the 2000s, so fairly new at 2013. A great example. And now let's go check out another one. Okay, here we are at a 4-bedroom townhouse, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2,100 square feet. Nice little community here. These are practically new, only a few months old. They were built in 2021. The list price on this is $1.145. So we're about a mile from the metro, a mile from where most of the restaurants and the shops are. So price comes down a little bit here. We're getting one more bedroom than the previous example I showed you of the 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath. So 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, about the same size, 2,100 square feet. There's a 2-car garage here. Those are around back. So this is the front entrance. This is a fairly quiet street here. We are on a main road, not quite as walkable, but we are within a couple of blocks of Lubber Run Park. You're just a short Uber ride down to restaurants, or a walk, say 15-minute walk down to the restaurants. A mile from the metro, probably a mile and a half from I-66. So still very convenient here, but just a little bit less on the price point, a little larger in terms of bedrooms. There's 4 bedrooms. Technically, one of them is probably more of an office size, which is what most people use it for anyway. But anyway, just a good example of larger townhome in the Arlington area, just over $1 million price point.
So what can you expect single-family home-wise? Well, Arlington's predominant growth spurt was the 40s and the 50s. So you'll see a lot of Craftsman, you'll see Ranch, Rambler, you'll see split level, kind of Brady Bunch type houses. And then you'll see a combination of newer construction built in the last 20 years, contemporary, transitional. And it's very common on any given block to see an original 40s, 50s house. Then you'll see maybe that same house, but it's been updated and expanded. And then you'll see something newer in a transitional style. And the architecture that most Arlington builders have used fits very well. So many blocks are very quaint and fit together, from the new construction to the original homes. 4 to 5 bedrooms, average price is about $1.3 million. You can expect to see a fifth to a quarter of an acre. Average square foot, about 2,400 square feet. Now, this is just average, so there's obviously a variance there. 6 to 7 bedrooms, average price point is about $2.1 million. Acreage point, about a quarter of an acre to 4/10 of an acre. Average is about 5,000 square feet. Most of the lots, you typically don't see huge backyards, but you see just enough for the kids and the dog and the patio, and just enough in the front so the home sits back off the street, and you'll typically see front entry driveway and garages. Let's go take a look at a couple examples.
Here we are in North Arlington, an example of a single family home. So 4-bedroom, 3 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet. This is a split foyer. So it's 1966 vintage, but it has been updated. Kitchens and bathrooms updated. There's new hardwood floors, quartz countertops, and new shaker cabinets. This particular one has a 1-car garage on the side here, and then carport here, and you can see they've extended a porch out over the carport with the screen and porch. A fifth of an acre here. So this is pretty typical for a home in a neighborhood in Arlington for single family homes. Built from the 40s to the 60s. It's been updated. In this neighborhood, you will find homes that are still in similar layout and condition than they were when they were built in the 50s or the 60s. You'll find homes that have been updated like this one. You'll find new construction homes. Generally, they're about a fifth to a quarter of an acre. There are some exceptions. This one's a fifth of an acre. It has a little backyard and then a decent sized front yard. Pretty common, so most of the times you can get a backyard in Arlington and then a little bit of front yard. It's not typically a huge backyard unless you kind of go further out in some areas of Arlington. But good example here, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. The price is at $1.3 million here in North Arlington. So we're near Washington Golf and Country Club and Marymount University here in North Arlington. Nice quiet neighborhood. There is a little new construction going on here. You probably hear in the background. 5-bedroom house, 5.5 baths. This one has formal study. It's a 2018 vintage, so it's updated appliances and kitchen. There's a large rec room, exercise room, nice flagstone patio out back. Kind of get a feel for the neighborhood. It's nice and quiet, with the exception of the construction noise going on here. And there's some, original 40s and 50s homes along with some updated homes. So across the street, we got something that's a little more original, which is pretty common for Arlington. You have a nice little front yard here, so just enough to set the home back off the street, and then you got a nice little backyard too as well. So flagstone patio, just enough for the dogs and the kids.
So it's worth noting in that last home, it's in one of the pricier neighborhoods in Arlington, Country Club Hills, which is built around Washington Golf and Country Club. It's also near Marymount University. It's on the northern end of Arlington. And typically, the further north you go in Arlington, the higher price point, and the further south you go, the lower price point. This brings us to the hidden gems of Arlington. Now, there's a wide variety of fun things to do in Arlington. I pared it down to a list of the top 5 hidden gems. Number 5 is the view of DC. This is an amazing panoramic view of DC. It's actually an event venue where they do business meetings and weddings and so forth. But during the day, you can go up there for free. So you just bring an ID, bring your smartphone or camera. You take this exterior glass elevator up to the 31st floor, and it's inside this huge glass atrium that has a view starting in Georgetown. So you can see Georgetown and the Georgetown waterfront, and you can see Watergate, and you can see the Kennedy Center, and you can see over to Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, and back to the Capitol, as far back as to see the Capitol. You can see Arlington National Cemetery and over to the Iwo Jima Memorial. An absolutely gorgeous view that many people know maybe from events and weddings, but during the day, it's a free venue. Go check it out. Amazing picture or video opportunity. Number 4 is Gravelly Point Park. It's a public park. The unique thing is it's the approach to National Airport. So as you're enjoying the park, I think it's every 8 minutes, planes at 100, 200 feet overhead land right behind you in the airport. So you get to see their approach and their descent, and then as they land at the airport. It's a nice park. There's picnic tables, there's a good amount of parking, there's soccer fields, rugby fields, there's a bike rental platform there, so you can rent bikes. Mount Vernon bike trail runs there. It's like 19 miles. It runs into George Washington's home, Mount Vernon. Gorgeous trail. Gravelly Point, check it out. Number 3 is a happy hour spot. Now, there are a wide variety of places to have great happy hour depending on what you like. In Arlington, this is just my favorite. It's Arlington Rooftop Bar and Grill. They have a fairly large rooftop area. They have a covered bar and covered seating, and then they have a large uncovered seating with a lot of lounge areas. Great place to go for some good drinks, good food. They even do special events, especially on a nice day. It looks back over DC and part of Arlington, sits up on the hill. My favorite happy hour spot. Number 2 is Theodore Roosevelt Island, or locals call Roosevelt Island. It's an 88-acre park. It has a small memorial to Teddy Roosevelt, but it has tons of walking and hiking paths. What's so great is it's right on the edge of Arlington. It's actually an island, but there's a footbridge to get over there. And it's very wooded and shaded. On one side, you have a view of Georgetown, so you can see the Kennedy Center and the Georgetown waterfront. But it's a nice wooded, walkable getaway, but right on the edge of the city. Number one is the best spot for 4th of July fireworks. Many people stay in town because the fireworks are such a beautiful display in DC. And the best spot to see them is right in Arlington. So if you're at the Iwo Jima Memorial and you walk down the hill towards DC and to the right a little bit, there's a large lawn there. It's free. You can bring a blanket, something to drink. I would bike or walk down there. I wouldn't bring my car. And the fireworks display is so beautiful, and that is the best view of it. You're fairly close. There's no buildings blocking you. It's just the river, and the fireworks are fired off on that side of DC. It's a kind of a locals only spot, but if you're in town for 4th of July, don't miss that spot for the fireworks. As you can see, Arlington has a lot to offer. It's hard to fit it all in one video. Up next is the pros and cons of living in Arlington. Be sure to check it out. There's some important information in there. If you live here in Arlington now, or you did at one point, please leave us a comment below. What are some of your favorite places? If you are looking to make that move to Arlington or somewhere else in the Washington, D.C. area, and you have more questions, please reach out via email, call, text. We get those every day, and we're happy to help you make a smooth move to this area, whether it's 9 days or 90 days.